Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Cosmic, and I want to welcome you to my channel, Opinion Stated, where I give unfiltered, opinionated sports takes. Let's go. Oh, what's good, everybody? My name is Cosmic. I want to welcome you back to my channel, Opinion Stated, and it has been a few weeks since, well, a week or so since my last episode. We are literally engaged in the NBA Finals, the 2025 NBA Finals, seeing the Oklahoma City Thunder face off against the Indiana Pacers. Games 1 and Games 2 have concluded so far, and we're on the brink of Game 3 that takes place tonight, later on this evening. And I have yet to do an episode pertaining to the NBA Finals. As a quick recap, Indiana would steal Game 1 in Oklahoma City, which had I done a actual episode, I would have predicted as much. Just expecting that Indiana, playing with the fire the way that they've been playing with the confidence, this like sheer confidence in themselves, and being as well coached as they are, I assumed that they would steal Game 1. The way that they stole Game 1, trailing for 47 minutes, 59.7 seconds of the game, I could never have predicted. But they held on nevertheless to fight in the game and then to take a definitive lead in the series at 1-0 after stealing Game 1. Game 2, a few days ago, saw Oklahoma City come out and handle business at home, taking down the Indiana Pacers as they are expected to. And so that leaves us knotted in this series at 1-1 heading into Game 3, as I said. So it is a interesting series so far. In this episode, I'm going to dig into a little bit of not only my own personal opinions and commentary about the series, but I want to share some data that was released today that I found in an article on ESPN.com. So if you've already seen the thumbnail, you know exactly what direction we're headed into. But before I dive fully into the content, do me a huge favor. Like this video. Liking the video helps us cruise along Algorithm Avenue, helps us get into the presence of individuals just like yourself who might be interested in this kind of content. And also subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell to be notified as to when our newest episodes are uploaded. Hey, without further ado, I'm diving right into this content. I'm going to entitle today's episode, NBA Finals, Shocking New Data Released. And there was an article published on ESPN's, ESPN.com and within the ESPN app today that I stumbled across. And I wanted to share the information in that article to bring fuller, implications and fuller attention to this idea that I have, these notions that I have pertaining to how these games are being officiated and the necessity, I feel like, for the referees to just allow these players to play. You hear this terminology thrown around all the time, like playoff foul, playoff intensity, et cetera, et cetera. And if it is to be true that you allow a lot more physicality in the playoffs, then the refs really need to take the whistle out of their mouth and stop calling so many ticky-tack fouls on Indiana. And I know I sound like an Indiana fan right now, and I promise I'm not. I'm just saying, if you allow these brothers to play basketball, man, we'll see much more entertaining basketball games. And also, you'll untip the scale out of the favor of the favorite. And so, getting right into the content and the information here, I first off want to share this article. The article was written by Neil Payne, and the 5 biggest outliers of the NBA Finals 2025 NBA Finals, Pacers Thunder outlier stats ahead of Game 3. So I'm going to dive right into this article. I'm going to maybe take some breaks in between to just kind of share some insights, etc., and then come back, give a larger, like opinion on the data and the information. And then to conclude the video, I will share the stat or the odds for the game in accordance to FanDuel.com. FanDuel does not support this channel, does not endorse this channel, does not sponsor this channel. But I'm just going to share the odds and then kind of talk a little bit about that. But the article first and foremost. 2 games into the 2025 NBA Finals, the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder are all squared up at a win apiece, and the script hasn't deviated much from expectations going in. I don't really know if that's true because what I heard for or from the majority of those, even in the independent or whether in the independent media space or the mainstream media space, was that Oklahoma City, Indiana Pacers did not stand a chance. Anybody outside of Indiana Pacers fans, I'm speaking about here. I'm sure Indiana Pacers fans will find the flag of Indiana believing. But I don't think the script played out the way that anybody, because I heard everybody saying basically Indiana didn't have a fighting chance, and also that this series would end in 5 or end in 4. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy to me. But hey, Neil said what he said. For instance, we knew that if the Pacers were going to steal one on the Thunder's home court, Indiana probably would need some of the same magic that has carried it throughout this playoff run. And indeed, Game 1 gave the Thunder a taste of the same medicine Indiana fed the Milwaukee Bucks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the New York Knicks earlier in the postseason. But then, as has usually been the case when coming off a playoff loss, Oklahoma City flexed its superior talent in Game 2, pulling away early and never letting the Pacers back into the contest. So yes, the overall arc of the series might feel familiar, but that doesn't mean the numbers have been mundane. From Pacers turnovers to Thunder free throws, the opening games produce statistical outliers as compared with how these teams usually play. That's important to consider because one of the best ways to understand what a team is doing well or where it's falling short is to compare each statistical category to the baseline that got it here in the first place. This is where the article gets really interesting to me. With that in mind, I grabbed the game logs in conventional and advanced metrics for the teams and calculated their percentile grades for games 1 and 2 relative to the matchups played in both the regular season and the postseason. The categories that on average have deviated most during the finals from full season norms are the areas where the teams are playing most unlike themselves for good and for bad. By that measure, here are the 5 biggest outliers of the series thus far in terms of how each team is performing relative to well itself. Indiana 2-pointers. Across the entire season thus far, the Pacers have averaged 30 made 2-pointers per game on 56.6, let's call it 57% shooting from inside the arc. They also ranked among the NBA's top 5 in both categories during the regular season, and individually 18th in the league with 6.2 made twos per game, leading an Indiana attack that was less reliant on 3-pointers than the typical team during the 2024-2025 campaign. Less reliant on threes. During these finals, however, the Pacers have turned into a completely different team, averaging just 22 made 2-pointers per game. That's down 8 entire shots, with Siakam's figure dropping to 4 per game on 51.8% shooting, both of which are among the team's lowest production on twos of the season. Pascal Siakam is not playing like Pascal Siakam, but neither are the Indiana Pacers, according to what was just shared. Let's keep going. At the same time, Indiana is averaging 39.5 3-point tries per game, taking more than 48% of its shots from beyond the arc, compared with season averages of 35.5 and 40%. So on the regular season, they only shot about 36 threes per game. So about 40% of their offense they attempted from beyond the arc. In the playoffs, they're now taking 40 threes per game. That accounts for 48% of their offense. 8 shots less they're getting per game overall. Are you keeping up? The Pacers spend a lot of time trailing in both games, which explains some of the shift. But they've also been knocked off their usual shooting mix in this series. The Pacers have been knocked off of their usual shooting mix in this series. They are relying too much on the three. They hit a lot of them, and that's great. They are the number 1 3-point shooting team in the postseason. I've heard it said a bunch of times. That's all well and good, but they're not playing like themselves. They're not playing the basketball that they would normally play. And it's not because Oklahoma City has made some great adjustment that is preventing them from doing so. It's not because Oklahoma City is preventing them from doing so. Next topic was the Indiana turnovers / opponent steals. On a related note, Indiana also hasn't made as many shots from the field because it has turned the ball over so much. Nearly 18% of the Pacers' possessions have ended in a giveaway, according to Basketball Reference, which is much higher than their 11.9% rate from the season as a whole. Nearly 18% of the Pacers' possessions have ended in a giveaway. Nearly 18%. Go back to what I just said. Not because Oklahoma City's not allowing them. Oklahoma City's playing tenacious defense. They are very pesky on the defensive end. I give them all credit for being so. In game one, it showed because they would force 25 turnovers or something like that. In game two, not as many. In game two, that wasn't the story of game two. So that's why I said it's not like Oklahoma City is forcing them to do these things. Indiana is just playing outside of themselves right now. They need to settle their jitters. They really do. It just appears to be a lot of jitter from the offensive side of the ball that is seeing them then turn the ball over. I know that they play with a lot of pace, so most folks will say, yeah, they're a fast-paced team. They like set pace. They set pace. They are rushing through their sets. They're not allowing the plays to develop, the offensive plays to develop. You know what I mean? They're rushing all over themselves. And it's not because the defense is speeding them up. They're sped up on their own. They just need to slow down some. Slow down in the half-court set. They literally need to slow down a bit in the half-court set. Allow the plays to develop. When a pick is coming, you have to allow the pick to be set. Like the man who's setting the pick, you have to allow him to set first before running the defender into the pick. And then wait for the roll. You know what I'm saying? Like before swinging the ball, like let the play develop. Let the players move around. See the court so that you can get into the offensive set. And they're just not doing that. They're doing a whole bunch of rushing. But back to the article. And their 25 turnovers in game one were the most by a team that won a finals game since 1977. So there, in fact, were 25 turnovers in that game one. Oklahoma City steals specifically have been among the biggest outliers in stats thus far. Its 14 takeaways in game one were tied for the second most Indiana allowed in a game all season and easily the highest of the playoffs. And OKC's 12 steals per game in games one and two dwarfed the Pacers' usual average of 7.3 steals per game. The Pacers normally, as a team, protect the ball very well on the season. They only averaged 7.3 turnovers or 7.3 steals per game. So they averaged a 7.3 per game. They or not turnovers, rather. Let me address their defense here in steals. And so again, talking about the turnovers, to go back to it, protecting the ball is very important, obviously, because you limit the amount of opportunities that the other team has to possess the basketball when you protect the basketball. For Indiana to average themselves 7.3 steals per game, or to allow a 7.3 steal per game from their opponent, and to have a 5 steal disadvantage or upward swing in steals that they're allowing for Oklahoma City speaks exactly to that point that I was making of them moving too fast and not protecting the ball. So they really need to slow it down, man, and protect the basketball. You're talking about game one where they gave up the 25 turnovers, but Oklahoma City rather was not able to convert those turnovers into points. So even if you're not converting them into points, the most important thing is limiting the turnovers on your side by protecting the ball, because it limits offensive opportunities that maybe won't lead to a 3-point jump shot or a 2-point jump shot, but it puts your team at the disadvantage because now you're on the defensive end, potentially picking up a foul, right? A costly foul for some of your other personnel, and sending the other team to the free throw line potentially. So you just have all these things, and it also leads to fatigue, takes away from your lack of confidence, continuing to build because you've been able to execute in the half court set. and run your sets to kind of knock the jitters off, etc. So they must protect the basketball. Back to the article. The Thunder are arguably the league's best turnover forcing defensive machine, but the Pacers were one of the best at resisting turnovers on offense. Something had to give, and that something is favoring Oklahoma City right now. It totally makes sense. And when you have the best turnover forcing team versus the team that's best at resisting turnovers and not turning over the ball, you get a cataclysm of good something's about to happen. Either we're about to prove that you guys cannot stop us, or you're going to stop us, and you're going to prove that you are as good at stopping teams and forcing turnovers as you are. And right now, it's looking like, at least in game one, it was looking like that that was true in the sense of Oklahoma City. Back to the article. Oklahoma City free throws. Oklahoma City free throws. This is the crux for me. While certain members of the Thunder, ranking 24th in made free throws per field goal attempt and averaging only 16.7 free throws per game, 19th most. In the finals, however, Oklahoma City is living at the line, averaging 25 free throws per game, with a ratio of free throws per field goal attempt that is 51% higher than during the season overall. 25 free throws per game is fucking ridiculous. They average 16.7 free throws per game, 19th most in the regular season. And now, I mean, in the final, in the postseason rather, but here in the finals, 25 free throws a game. The refs need to take the whistles out of their mouth. I promise they do. Man, is Indiana fouling? Yeah, sure they are. Is Oklahoma City fouling? Yeah, sure they are. You're not going to call it even, then you know what I mean? Like, it's not worth calling. Let the basketball players play. We've tuned in to see a finals series of the best two teams remaining, fighting for it all. Let them play basketball, man. That's all I ask as a fan. I just want to see them play. I don't want to. I hate this idea of superstar calls, and I've witnessed this I witnessed this when I was playing ball from junior high school level, etc. Man, I've witnessed it even in the collegiate ranks and into the pros. Same way, star players get star calls. I get it. I understood it and I understand it. I hate it. I fucking hate it. Stop it. Let's knock it off, man. I don't care. I don't care to see the whistle blown for like stop the favoritism and the calls. Let the dudes play basketball, man. It's more respectful. It's more respectable to watch it. It is. It really is. Let them work. Let them work. When it's a blatant foul, call the foul, man. But every single time, these phantom calls or allowing the like Shea gets away. I said this to the homie Bruce. I made a guest appearance on the Format podcast a couple days ago, and Shea gets away with these with that push off so often. He's so crafty at doing it that you don't even realize half the time that he's doing it until you see the replay and you just catch the angles. But he's pushing off so often on the offensive end. I'm saying, man, like those kinds of calls need to be made, not necessarily to get Shea in foul trouble specifically, but to even tighten up his offensive game some more so that he doesn't have, I'm not saying that he has to rely on it, but he gets away with it a lot. And so I don't want to see it called on other players and then not see it called when he does it. You know what I mean? It's just not cool, man. So the free throw disparity, back to the free throws, for Oklahoma City to shoot as many free throws as they're shooting in the series speaks wholly to either the refs are not calling it down the middle, or Indiana is just fucking hacking out there. And I don't see Indiana just committing crazy fouls. You know what I mean? Like on every single play down. The refs need to take the whistle out of their mouth, call it straight down the middle, man. Let these dudes play basketball. Call the fouls that need to be called, but the others, like we got to knock it off. Like you have to, man, for the sake of the game. The Thunder's 29 makes from the foul line in game two were the third most they made in a single game all season long, and were tied for the fourth most Indiana allowed in the game as well. The Pacers are fouling more than their usual average, but the Thunder also have helped themselves by making 87.7% of their free throws in this series, with these finals featuring two of their five most accurate outings at the line in the entire playoffs. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander alone has accounted for 36% of the Thunder's made free throws as a team, somehow improving on his league leading rate of made free throws per game from the regular season. Somehow, fuck you mean somehow. If you put him at the line, a great free throw shooter like he is, he's going to improve his made free throws per game rate. And so again, the Thunder are a great free throw shooting team, obviously, as a stat just indicated, making 87% of their free throws in this series. I go back to that 87% to say that if they were shooting 16.7 already through the playoffs and then now are shooting 25 per game, hitting 87, it's not rocket science to understand the disadvantage that puts a team, the opponent, you know what I mean, at. You're just gonna keep this team living literally at the free throw line, and they shoot at a high rate, man. It's gonna be a disparity in points scored that tip the favor, or tip the balance in their favor every single time. Stop calling so many ticky tack fouls, man. And breathing on players, bodying up, and you're blowing the whistle. Like, damn, it's a physical game. The game is physical. Basketball is literally a physical game. It's guys bumping and boxing out, and you know what I mean. Like, it's a physical game. It's always been a physical game. This is not new. Stop calling all the crazy ass fouls for no reason, bro. I'm telling you, it's just really annoying. Indiana scoring. Back to the article. Despite improved balance this season, the Pacers are still an offensively reliant team, ranking number 9 in offensive efficiency during the regular season versus number 13 on defense and number 2 on offense during the playoffs. Across the entire season, Indiana's averaging 117.2 points per game, but in the finals so far, the number has dipped to 109. This is the only time in the playoffs the Pacers have been held to 111 or fewer in each of the opening 2 games of a series. Why? Because they're taking 8 less shots. Pascal's not playing like himself. Neither is Halliburton playing like himself. They're getting a solid contribution from TJ McConnell, or have gotten in these first 2 games off the bench. They've gotten a solid contribution from Ben Mathurin off the bench. They've gotten a solid contribution from a few of their players actually off the bench, because Obi Toppin's playing well. The kid with the rapist mustache, sorry, he's playing well. So they're getting a solid contribution from those guys: Neesmith, Nembhard, Pascal, and Halliburton. Not so much. Even Miles Turner has shown up here in the finals so far. Where is Halliburton and Siakam? They need to play the game the way that they play. Their fast-paced game is more like if you remember the Suns, like, you know what I mean, like 6 seconds or less offense. Like the Indiana Pacers, I watched them earlier in the season, were literally just trying to get out in transition and run off made baskets or missed baskets. It didn't matter. They were grabbing the ball out of the net, inbounding the ball, going for it. They were getting rebounds. They were looking to outlet the ball down court and get a fast break going, or just get an easy transition basket, or a faster basket, or faster look at the basket in transition. That's contributed to the average number of shots they took throughout, you know what I mean, the season. And so that's not happening in this series, which to this point is hindering their scoring. This can't be explained by a slower pace. This can't be explained, the article says, by a slower pace either. The 99.8 possessions per finals game is slightly higher than the Pacers' season-long average of 99.6. But it can be explained by a few of the factors previously mentioned: trading more 2s for 3s, and especially turning the ball over so much. Yeah, less possessions, and then shooting more 3s instead of getting out in transition, like I just said, which gets you more looks at the basket. Either way, the net result is fewer points, especially for the key Pacers. After averaging a combined 39.9 points per game during the playoffs prior to the finals, Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton have averaged 32.5 points per game together in the finals. So they are down nearly 6.5 points, or 6.5 points exactly, in the finals. That 6.5 points would have saw them now they only lose by 9 points last game, even if they just hit their averages, which all the Oklahoma City Thunder seem to have hit their averages. Take away the extreme games from let's just take away Caruso's 20 by itself, and then we're talking about a different game. You just take away Caruso's 20 points, period, even without the additional 7 points from Siakam and Halliburton in game two, and we're talking about a 2-0 lead for Indiana. And so you definitely cannot afford, no team can afford to have your best two players not play up to their standard in a series such as this one. And so they definitely need to show up to the party. Back to the article, both teams is assists. One early trend that unifies both offenses is that their assist numbers are down as compared with their usual averages. Using their typical numbers from the season as a whole, Indiana and Oklahoma City's combined assists would figure to add up to a total of 55.5 per game, with 29 coming from the Pacers and 26.5 from the Thunder. But through the first two finals games, they're down to a combined average of 44.5 assists per game, with Indiana falling to 25.5 and Oklahoma City dropping to 19. And so the Pacers have seen their assist total fall just by 3.5 assists, while the Thunder have seen their assist totals fall by nearly 8 assists per game. You don't need as many assists per game if you're Oklahoma City when you keep getting a foul call, so you continue to live at the free throw line, in addition to you being able to get the contributions from your team when the refs aren't blowing the whistle. For a Indiana team, the margin is not that drastic in terms of of disparity, right, between regular season and or playoffs and now. So that 29 assists they were averaging before haven't fallen to just 25.5. That contributes to another 6 points per game, potentially, etc. But or more, depending if there's 3 shot and ones, etc. However, the the tipping point, I feel like, and the issue is still not just that they're not dishing out as many assists. It's not that. It's fewer possessions, fewer shots, and it's the disparity in free throws for Oklahoma City. The refs got to do better, man. Refs got to do better. Those are a pair of pretty significant declines, though they're happening for different reasons. For Indiana, its rate of assists per made basket actually has gone up in the finals from 66.9% to 67.3%, but it is making far fewer buckets than usual, 38 field goals a game versus a typical average of 43. See? So Indiana's still able to do what they do. They're dishing out the assists. It's not happening at the same number on average, but the actual assist ratio has gone up. So they're still playing the game from an offensive standpoint as efficiently and effectively as they normally do. That's not the problem. The problem, again, is the lack or the disparity in free throw shooting, which helps to keep the other team out front, stops the game, slows the game down, stops you from getting into a fast up-tempo pace, or the pace that you want to play in, and it also gets players off the court, obviously, which is what foul trouble does. So it disrupts your offense, your offensive scheming, planning, and play, etc., because you're at a much higher or a much more efficient advantage when you have the players on the court running the sets that you actually want to play. You have your star player has to sit down, or a couple key pivotals, and you know what I mean. It's like, come on. Back to the article. Oklahoma City, however, is genuinely spreading the ball around less than usual, with an assist rate of 47.9% in games 1 and 2, including 33% in game 1, its lowest share of the entire season as compared with a season-long average of 59.7%. Gilgeous-Alexander was up from 3 assists in game 1 to 8 in game 2, but the Pacers probably will look to keep denying the Thunder's ball movement from here. That's the article. So again, the advantage for Oklahoma City is like, well, I mean, we don't really have to dish the ball, and they're not going to dish the ball as much when the refs are slowing the game down by blowing the whistle. And so we're able to just put points on the board that way. So when we do get the now more limited time for possession. We're still going to score, but you know what I mean? If you're getting those in ISO, you don't get a chance to really get the distribution that you would get with more possessions, more time on the clock. Points notwithstanding, you're going to get your points from the free throw line. So that's, that article, man. I just kind of wanted to go into that and give some insights and some opinions on it. Let me know if you have, opposing views on it. If I missed something here, or you heard something that I glossed over, or maybe that I misstated, but I see things the way that I see them. And I have, and that article was perfect for, as I said again, helping me to just kind of highlight and speak about some of the things that I've seen and that I'm witnessing in this finals that I don't like. There's a lot to be liked, obviously, with these two teams playing, but a lot to be left desired. Last but not least, I want to go into the odds in accordance to FanDuel Sportsbook. As I said before, FanDuel Sportsbook does not endorse this channel, does not sponsor this channel. I am not working for them. I do not get my pockets lined by sharing this data or information. I'm just only talking about what the odds makers are doing. If you are a gambler, do so responsibly, please. You know what I mean? Good luck to you. In this game tonight, Oklahoma City is favored. They are given, obviously, the Indiana Pacers 5 points in this game. 5 points. 5 points on the road. They are given up to the Indiana Pacers. If you think that the Indiana Pacers are going to come out and take care of business at home, which is not far-fetched, then the money line is at plus 180. So $1 gets you 180. You know what I mean? Like over and under is set at 228. So 228, 114, 114. Do I think this will be a high scoring game? Let's start there. Do I think that tonight's game will be a high scoring game? Yes. Yes. I think tonight's game will be a high scoring game because the Indiana Pacers will feast off of their home crowd. They're going to get out. They're going to bring it tonight intensity wise. So I think this will be a really, really good up-tempo game tonight. I think they're going to bring it. Do I think that there will be great defense played on both sides? I do. But I don't think that will stop the teams through the ways that they free flow in the offense unless the refs don't do what I'm asking to be done, which is just to let these guys play the game. You know what I'm saying? Like if they continue with this really weird whistle blowing, then the 228, you know what I mean? It's like the game may go under 228, but last game, went over 228. So I think that this game will definitely be a up-tempo, fast-paced game. Both teams are able to string together 10-0 runs, 8-0 runs, just like, 7-0 runs in a blink. So for that reason, I just think that it's going to be a very high scoring, high energy game, as you would expect from both these two teams. And as far as who wins the game this evening, I think that this is one of those games that Indiana comes out. Again, they're playing with house money. They are better on the road than they are at home, or have been better on the road in the playoffs than they have been at home. But I think tonight's home cooking is gonna be good for them. So I expect them to actually win the game tonight. And even if they don't win the game tonight, then the 5 points, you know what I mean, like maybe sweet, give or take, you know what I mean, like hopefully. But yeah, I expect the Indiana Pacers to win the game straight up. So now, like 5 points notwithstanding, I throw that out the window. I think the Indiana Pacers win this game to make it a 2-1 series tonight. I think Oklahoma City gets the next one. So we'll see what happens in the game. That has been the basis of this particular episode, man. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Like the video if you haven't done so already. Also subscribe to the channel. I will catch you in the next episode. Until then, take care of yourselves. Looking forward. Blessings.